Hey guys, this is Felipe from LingoCast. If you really enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and comment. And that's it. Let's make Lingers learning great. When you see courses promising like, hey, speak like a native speaker, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of promises like, hey, speak like a native speaker?
Yeah, so this is native speaker is really problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least the field in the scientific field, we sort of have gotten away from it because what does that mean? Does it mean sound like one? Sound like one? Does it mean um so like what so I will tell you in the field we've gotten away from saying native speaker at all. We call it like we call it what's your first language? Okay. Your L1 versus your L2. Like native speaker has a lot of baggage, probably more baggage as non-native speaker because it sort of makes it sound like there's some deficiency. So I would say, could I answer a different question? Can I say, what does it mean to be a proficient speaker?
That's better because you can be a native and still be bad at the language.
Yeah. So like, what is it? So let's take neurodivergent individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone who's autistic, are they a native speaker of their what? If they're nonverbal.
Mm. Interesting.
Right? So, like, that's where it just sort of gets a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
And so, what does it mean to be a native speaker? So, um, you're you're from Brazil. So, does the does a professor at a Brazilian university use the same Portuguese as someone that is a manual laborer?
Definitely not.
Right? So,
I
which is the native speaker?
Well, both are native speakers, but both have, let's say, a lexicon and a variant that differs from one another, and their variants are culturally appropriate for their specific environments, which tells a lot about them, about what they think, and about their ideas, and about what they are interested in.
So, I'm from Southern Idaho. Like, I was born in Blackfoot, Idaho. I was born in Southern Idaho, and um, And so I have relatives that like my grandpa was a sheep farmer, right? And so I have some relatives that are that are laborers and it's not it would blue collar workers and it would like and they might say like guess who I seen down at the store, right?
Sure.
Non-standard English.
Non-standard.
Then you have university professor me, right? Who I can actually speak sometimes with the wind behind my back. I can speak somewhat academic English, right? But one of the things that happens is if you try to speak that higher level of language among some people, I think, do you think you're better than we are? Are you getting too good for your roots? Like there's all the sociolinguistic stuff. So a lot of it is, are you code switching? Are you able to move up and down? And so that's why I don't like the term native speaker. I'm like, especially when it comes to me as a testing person, I'm like, well, what are the functions we're trying to perform with the language? What's the situation?
Right.
Am I testing language for an academic context for to say that people are university ready, or am I testing it so that they can survive, like buying groceries? Sure. So that's one of the things that I ask. I don't know, like, so your question is, what do I call a native speaker? I think it's very problematic.
Oh yeah, definitely. What makes proficiency testing a reliable indicator of language ability in that sense? Because you said that you need to calculate all that. How does one, for example, I took the OPI in Arabic,
Yeah.
right? How was the tester able to tell? Okay, he's at this level here. How does one indicate?
Well, so the way what we do with proficiency testing is what we, for oral proficiency testing, since that's the test that you talked
Yeah.
about, we try to mimic it so it reflects real world communicative situations that are spontaneous. Okay, so one of the things that when we define proficiency is what would be appropriate for speakers um, for spontaneous speech
Mm.
in a way that's meaningful for the people that they're interacting. Okay. So like what we're trying to do is we're trying to think of what's a spontaneous interaction that might occur where you'd have this, these linguistic functions. Okay. And by spontaneous as opposed to, and then what we do is that with proficiency skills, at least with the ACTFL and ILR. So ACTFL is the American Council on Teaching Foreign Languages. ILR is the Interagency Language Roundtable. The ILR scales were developed first. ACTFL was derived from that. Okay. And what they do is they have like distinct levels. And what you want to do is you see what can someone consistently do at one level and where is their systematic breakdown at the next level. Okay. So you only score between two levels. You look to see where is there a pattern of strengths that they can do everything at the one level and where is there a pattern of breakdown at the next level. And what happens is we move up, we take different criteria that expands exponentially. So for instance, we have text type. So like the lowest level is going to be words and phrases and memorized chunks of speech. Then the next text type is going to be sentences and strings of sentences. The next text type is the oral paragraph. The next text type is extended discourse, extended cogent discourse. Okay. Then we take the thing from content, talk about yourself, to self and daily life, to the world and community at large, to the abstraction, the world of ideas. Then we take what are the functions like, and so we look at what we do is we say the function is going to be memorized phrases, formulaic utterances would be at the lowest level to transactional, asking and answering questions, to the next one is going to be narration and description in all major time frames. Talk about the past, the present, and the future. Next one is going to be supported opinion, discussing abstract topics, hypothetical situation. Hypothesis in conjecture, like competing realities. Right. So when you take all those different things, you look to say, well, what can they consistently do at the one level, and where's their breakdown? The breakdown might be content. They're not able to. Their vocabulary is too generic. It might be an inability to maintain consistent tenses. Right. And so that would be breakdown. It may be, uh, like at the very beginning parts of learning a language, it may be the inability to create sentences. Sure. You're giving a list of words, and by a list of words, I mean you're saying noun, verb that hasn't been conjugated. Right. Like so you say, like you'd be using the infinitives. Like you'd be saying, yo caminar. Like I to walk, like you're not doing anything to modify the words to create sentences. That could be patterned breakdown at that one level. So what you do is you look to see where are their strengths at the one level, where's their breakdown at the next higher level, and then you assign a rating based on that. So that's sort of how we do then the testing.